Joining our introduction to cybersecurity class. So in this class, we're gonna be talking about what is cybersecurity, different types of attack an individual is subjected to. So what sort of attack an individual or a person can experience, what different type of attack a company is subjected to, what are the opportunities in this highly dynamic and fascinating fields, and how can you start your career in cybersecurity. Okay, guys, this class gonna be approximately 40 minutes, and right at the end of the class, we will give you a big bonus. So watch the whole class, and you will learn quite a lot of stuff in this session, and we'll give you a big bonus right at the end. So let's just start with a story. Jama is a passionate online shopper. She loves to shop online, and for greater experience and ease of shopping, her address and credit card details are stored on the online fashion store's database servers online. So one day, Gemma received an email from her favorite online store for a special gift, and she was asked to click on the link to follow the process and to claim the gift voucher. So she did. And next morning, Gemma was shocked to see a large amount of money disappeared from her account. So what happened here? The email that she received was a fake email. It was sent by an anonymous hacker, and she was a victim of a cyber attack. So you might have experienced these sorts of things yourself, or some of your friends or families might be. These are stories of pretty much every second house nowadays. So let's just get going. So the could she have prevented this attack? Was it possible for her to prevent this attack, or she would not have been a victim of this attack? Yes, she could. With the help of cybersecurity, she could have prevented this attack. So what is cybersecurity then? Cybersecurity involves techniques which help to protect various digital components such as network, computer system, data from unauthorized access from the hackers or bad guys. There are so many out there, and she would have experienced all this. So she could have prevented this if she was well aware of what cybersecurity challenges and threats are around. So there are multiple ways to implement cybersecurity depending on your requirement and type of cyber attacks you are experiencing. You have to constantly watch because this is a high dynamic field. New attacks are surfacing every single day, and they are called zero-day attack. No one have experienced those before. So you have to constantly watch your network and your requirements. So that's how the cybersecurity works. So you have to be watchful, and it's a high dynamic and very fast changing field. It's a very fascinating field though. So if you love challenges, then that's the field for you guys. So let's discuss some of the attacks. Malware attack is a very popular one. What malware attack is, malwares are just a piece of software which can infect your system in different ways. So let's just, for example, one of them is called Trojan horse. So Trojan horse is a type of malware that is often disguised as a legitimate software. Once activated, it can enable cyber criminal to spy on you, steal your data, and can gain backdoor access to your system. Trojan horse is a term which came from it's from a history when the Greeks were attacking the city of Troy, and they were miserably failing. They tried for 10 years and they couldn't. Then they built a big wooden horse, and they left the horse there, and finally they decided to leave. So when they left and the people of Trojan, they saw those armies moving, the Greeks army, when they were sure that they moved out, they went and they saw, oh, they left this big horse. So this looks very nice. So let's just, they just took that took horse inside the city. And in those days, cities were guarded by these big walls, and there was gates to the city. So they took the inside. What happening was the Greek soldiers, some of their deadly soldiers were actually hiding in the horse. So in the night when everyone went to sleep, they quietly came out and they just attacked the people who were guarding the gates, and they opened the gate. And that's where, the other Greek soldier came back and they entered the city and they captured the city. So basically, that's where the term Trojan came from. So Trojan are legitimate, looks legitimate, but they are, these malwares are hiding behind it. So they are very, very dangerous and very difficult to actually detect unless if you have the proper control and proper knowledge in place. The other one, which are very popular, are called adware. You might have seen that, adware is a software that automatically display or download unwanted advertising material on your system. You might have seen that on various system yourself, or someone might have experienced this. I remember that happening quite a lot and what happened is all of the sudden in your system, you start these ads popping up. And even when you try to close down these ads by clicking on the close link on this system, what happened is when you click on that, it take you to the malicious website, and you might download something you might not even be aware of, some other viruses. So, the other type of malwares are called spywares, and spyware, as the name suggests, is a blanket term used for the software that gather information about your computer and the things you do on it, and send these information quietly to the third party, which can be a hacker, which can be another enemy government agency, or it could be anyone. So these spywares basically steal information from your system and all this stuff that you do on it. The another very popular one are called, it's not possible for me to actually discuss every single one here in an intro class, which is just a taster class for you guys to give you a taste what cybersecurity is and what you're going to be learning. So ransomware is another piece of software. What it does is that if it's somehow, if you download that into your system, and this will encrypt the system, your hard drive, and you would not be able to access anything, because in order to use, you have to decrypt. All of a sudden next morning, or when you next time go to the system, you will see a message on your screen, hey, your system is encrypted, and you can't use it. You have, in order to decrypt, you need a decryption key, and they will ask you to pay money for it. And recently, in last year, I think so, it was the National Health Service of UK. They were just subject to that attack, and the hackers managed to uh, encrypt the system of quite a lot of employees in the National Health Service. And there are rumors that they ended up paying quite a lot of money to them, but who knows, but they managed to get the system back somehow. So that's ransomware. Another one are rootkits. They are another very dangerous and deadly malware. If it get installed on your system, they are very difficult to get rid of it, because they work even below the graphical operating system that you use. Like Windows is a graphical operating systems with work, we know that. So if it's working underneath the operating system, so any application like antivirus or anti-malware or anything installed on your system, they won't be able to see it. And then all you have to basically format your hard drive, which is sounds very easy, or why don't we do it, but in work environment is very difficult, because there's quite a chance of losing quite a lot of data, and also quite a lot of application, and it's a cumbersome, it's a very tedious process to go through. So Now, if you just think about that, JAMA clicked on a link and went on to this, experienced that attack, she could have done, I mean, that link could have downloaded any of these software. So they are quite dangerous until your user or you are not aware of these security threats around. So let's just take a quick look on encryption. I talk about ransomware, so thought just give you a little quick, very 1 minute lesson. So what encryption does is that if you have a plain text, say, hello, how are you? And then if you just use an encryption key, and the encryption key, you apply on that, and then you will get a gibberish, which would not make sense. It's called ciphertext. So no one be able to read it. If it's available, but you can't see it, but you don't make sense unless and until you decrypt that. And in order to decrypt, you have to use the decryption key. And when you apply the decryption key, you will get your text back. So this is how, the encryption work. The people and the spies agencies, they used to do that. This is encryption is something which has been used for years and years, and even in very olden days, people used to do that. In the course, we will discuss the encryption. Will give you all those different methods to encrypt your system and why they are important and how can you encrypt the important information. So yeah, that's just a very quick one on encryption. Another attack which user can experience is called phishing attack, and you would know that from this picture that JAMA basically experienced a phishing attack. So it's basically a type of social engineering attack, often used to steal user data, including their login credential and credit card numbers. It occurs when an attacker pretends as a trusted entity. So it looks like that the hacker will pretend that the email came from a valid source, a trusted source. In this case, it can look like it came from Amazon. And, JAMA was a passionate user of Amazon. So it looked like that it came from there, but it wasn't. And then, they tricked you into steal information from you guys. So this is a social engineering. The social engineering is a big field out there. We'll discuss about that later. I'll just show you another example which I experienced, I think so yesterday. Yesterday, I received an email from DVLA, which is a government authority who are responsible to tax our vehicle. We have to pay monthly tax for our cars to drive them on the roads. So I received that email and it was claiming that I have not paid my tax, and I would not, it's illegal to drive. So I have to go and tax my vehicle. So if you look at that email carefully, even if you look at the English, it's quite substandard. So it says it says that if you look at that, DVLA has been notified electronically about latest payment. It should have been at least about your latest payment. And there's other typo in there and error, very badly worded email. So you can figure out, but user don't, if they're not aware of these sorts of things, they will just go and they will click on it. And even if you look at the email that it came from, it's basically claiming it came from DVLA at uk.gov. Actually, uk.gov even is wrong, gov.uk. And if you just look at the actual source, if you clever enough, then you can figure out that basically this email came from this Hotmail account. So, and if you are even further technical, and if you just inspect the code of the link, you can say this linking to this very weird link. So it's a very jumble bumble link. So it's not that difficult to find out unless and until you completely don't know what cybersecurity are and what the threats are around you. So another attack, which is called man in the middle attack, they are very popular. So if, for example, in our case, a user want to access some information from a web server or any remote server, and hacker will get into the path of the communication. They will just hack or control the IP address of the user, and then any communication between the two parties is intercepted and they might not be aware of. So this normally happens, these sort of attacks happen when you have unsecured Wi-Fi networks, and Wi-Fi networks. So they can just log into that Wi-Fi, and then they can use some sort of these softwares, which they can see what the traffic is flowing around, and they can just get in the middle. So they're not very difficult to do either. So, or also there is if they have installed a malware on your system, so that is another possibility. So man in the middle attacks are quite common as well, and you should be aware of that. Uh, Password attacks, again, is one of the easiest way to hack a system. You don't need to install anything. All you need is, if you have a physical access to the system, you can, or if you have somehow access to a system remotely, you can just break the password. And by what can you do is you can use all the, it's called the dictionary attack. So you can use all the common passwords, and you might be a lucky one, like ABCD123 4 password with some number and bond 007. These are very common passwords. So, or you can use different alphanumeric combinations, and that way they can break the password. So you might be thinking it's not easy, and how I know what the common passwords are. They're not very difficult. I mean, they are available on the internet. So this is the top 500 passwords normally people use, and look at that. So you can use those one, and the hackers use these one. So these are very, I mean, look, ABC123 bond 007. The bigger the password, basically it shows the how more frequently it's used. Trust number 1, thanks 1138, rush 2112. And so these are red 123 123 ABC, test 123. Can you see how people are using so weak passwords? So they can use that, these available passwords, common password list, and these are only under, there are thousands are available, and they can use that one and can attack. And similarly, it's not difficult. If you just sit down and manually do that, it's a difficult task. But if you have a software or an application which can do that in just a fraction of a second. So to prevent future, all these future attacks, JAMA decided to use some controls. So what she did was she installed a firewall. Firewall is a piece of, it can be software or hardware, we'll discuss. So basically, firewall sits between user and the network, and it filters all the traffic which comes from the network or internet, and it just pass on the clean traffic. If there is any attack going on, clever firewalls will try to mitigate those. So this is what's happening. So if you have a firewall, it could be an application firewall, it could be a hardware firewall. Application firewalls are just a piece of software you can install on a system, and you configure it and you can use it. Hardware firewalls are they are equipment, a physical equipment that you can use. You can install that equipment and you can configure it, and you have to configure your network so all the traffic is flowing through your firewall, and hardware firewall are more powerful than the application firewall. Like application firewall will just defend just one individual user, and if your system goes down, the firewall will go down. But if if they are a separate piece of hardware, they are more powerful. But keep one thing in mind, that having these control in place is one thing, but then you have to configure, how to configure those one properly. And then they also has to be updated, because the vendors update those system. I have seen in our countries, in all those developing country, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all those sorts of, we have seen people either don't use it, or they just try to use the free one, or just try to download from cracked version. They are useless. They are completely useless. So if they are free, like there are free firewalls available, then but they have to come from the proper vendor, and they are providing free because they need to give you updates to do that. So this is the first control she was suggested to use. And then also she decided to use honeypot. which dummy systems, these are dummy system, vulnerable system, which attract the attacker. So they just come and see this system in this place and say, oh, it's very vulnerable. When they scan the network, they can see the vulnerable system, and they just go and attack that system. So they are made to that the users, the hackers can come and attack these systems. So this is what called the honeypot. So you can implement that, and I will show you an example of that and what we can do with it. So, and that way you can protect the actual user system. So she she also decided to use a strong password, like a combination of number and letters, uppercase, lowercase, and some special characters. You guys can use some non-English phrases or non-English word which are slightly difficult for the dictionary attack to crack on. So use those one. Try to use the difficult one, because they have to be. And if you can't remember, one of the difficult thing why people use weak password is that it's very hard to remember. And if they have three, four different passwords, it's very, very hard for them to remember those. So you can use password managers are available nowadays. So you have a password manager, you store all your password in there, and then you have one very strong password for the password manager to protect that, and then you have to remember just one password. So this is she also decided to install an antivirus software, and again I would say we will discuss these one, how to see how to basically check which are the good antivirus softwares are. So get a good antivirus software, and then you have to update it, because the antivirus software, the way they detect malware and viruses and all those things is by the signature, how the virus file look like. So there's a database of those viruses loaded into the system. So if there is a new virus came up, and if it is not in the database of the antivirus software, they would not be able to detect it. So these are called zero-day attacks, which are just recently came up. So you can be a victim of a zero-day attack. So that's why it's important that these antivirus softwares are constantly updated and regularly updated. And so they just give you the protection that you guys require. Then cyber attacks are not just targeting individual. They basically are targeted toward the big companies, even small to medium businesses, and the government or public sector as well. And the motive of these attack is very clear. They basically, this is very, very mean sort of, this is one of the great motive they have. So they are, so let's just so this is you see is this is, I'm just give you a taster of that. This is a live not live, but you can say I just recorded that, but it's available. It's an instant or a live view of the attacks happening around the world. And you can just see how how oftenly these attacks are happening. And if you look at it, it says that the top three attack origin: Germany, Canada, and United States. And to be honest, it looks like that they're coming from these three countries, originated top three countries, but it could be a possibility that it's not, it may not be, because they might be the hacker sitting somewhere else using a VPN software or something like that, and it pretended like that it's coming from Germany and launching attack from Germany. Or, as I told you guys, that they have system, and what these people are doing is that they might have infected the systems, and we'll discuss that one. And using your system might be, or my system might be, to launch the attack, but it just gives you a rough idea. And then again, if you look at the top three target countries, this is on 8th of December. I have recorded that. So that's basically India, United States, and UK. These are the three countries. And if you look, these are the three countries which have pretty much everything connected to the internet. So this is, then also top attacks type, intrusion, malware. If you look, we talked about malware, and look, 4.55 million malware attacks. Can you see that? So it's a lot of that happening. And so we'll discuss in, hopefully in, if you guys sign up for the course, the detailed course, then we will just give you all that and show you where you can get these information and how to make use of it. And it just makes you look, it helps you to protect the system, and also it makes you look cool when you have those information. And when you just go and appear somewhere and talk about cybersecurity, then people at least know that you are looking and you are well aware of the field. So some of the cyber attacks companies are subjected to, we include one of that is called advanced persistent threat, APT. So what in this case, in this attack, the hackers will gain access for a long period of time, and they are very quietly just stealing information for a longer period of time. So they just hack the system, and they don't just sometimes simply go and steal information and go. No, they just do it at a very low level, and keep themselves on a very low of the lower radar, and they keep stealing information for longer period of time. One of a leading bank here in UK, their system was hacked, and it went undetected for 6 months. So hackers were basically stealing information for 6 months or so. So it's very dangerous. Another type of attack is called denial of service attack, as it says that DOS is used more. And for the DOS attacks are when a hacker or a bad guy, they just sends loads of information, flood the system with millions of requests to the server. And then because every system has a capacity, and they will send so much requests to the server that it will overrun. And they just when the actual user want to have some information from the system, they will get 503 service unavailable message or some other service unavailable messages. So they just, it's denial of service. So basically they're sending legitimate requests, but they just are sending so much of that, and they will overwhelm the system, and they will bring the system down. So if you look at that, it's quite the dangerous one. So then also the other one is called distributed denial of service, DDoS. What in this system, in this attack, what hackers or the bad guys do, they actually have infected quite a lot of system already, and when they want to launch an attack, they basically launch it from different systems. So these systems are called zombies, and they have people have downloaded malwares, or they have installed malware or some other spyware software on user system. And when they want to attack, when they want to launch an attack, they will launch an attack ASA whenever it's required. So then it's very difficult to detect, because in the DOS attack, the traffic is coming from just one source, whereas in this one is coming from quite a lot of resources. And so they are more deadlier than the DOS attack. So this is called distributed denial of service attack. And the way they are basically carried out using HTTP flood, TCP/IP flood, ICMP flood, or ping of death. These are different protocols. If you're not aware of these, don't worry about it. These things are not making sense. They will, and we will go at a very lower pace, and we will discuss all these HTTP, TCP/IP, ICMP, and ping, and all these different protocols, and how they work and how they are used to launch the attack. So basically, and how to prevent yourself from that. So this is just a taster. So now there's another type of attack. Sometimes hackers will manipulate, and they will inject the SQL query into the database, and it's called SQL injection attack. And by doing so, they will get access to the database, and then they can view the database, they can edit it, or they can just delete it. So if you don't know what SQL is, it's a standard query language which is used to speak to the databases. So we will discuss that later on. So if your databases are not configured properly, or if they are not patched, and or the web servers are not patched properly, or the servers are not patched properly, then this attack can happen, and it does happen quite a lot. So then the other thing which in cybersecurity is very important to be aware of, it called CIA triad. And it's basically means CIA stand for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This is a very important concept, and if you just come down to one thing, that everything would be boiling down to these three things. So this is all why you doing all this cyber or information security practices. So the important confidentiality, as the name suggests, refer to an organization effort to keep their data private or secret. So data need to be kept secret from unauthorized access. So only people who are authorized should have access to the information. So this is why we're protecting data, right? So then it's come down. Then the next thing, integrity. Integrity is about ensuring the data has not been tampered with, and therefore can be trusted. It is correct, authentic, and reliable. So this is, once the data is confidential is not available, that's great. But then also it has to be trusted. It's need to be clean. So if hackers or some bad guys, they get into the system and they can poison the data. And that's where sometimes these fake news come from. They poison the data, and the wrong informations are just floating around. So when the actual, I mean, the legitimate or legal user, they need access to the information where they have to, and then basically need to be clean so it can be trusted. And the third one is called availability. So the data or system should be available in a timely manner and a reliable access to those resources whenever it is needed. So it has to be available. The denial of service attack. This is, when if a denial of service attack is happening, you can't access the system. So your system, they might not be able to get into your system, and your data or informations are confidential. They can't get it, great. They can't change it. Integrity is intact, great. But they can't, if you can't access it, so the availability is not there. So then that data is of no use. So all these three things has to be in place and should be intact all the time. So this is, whatever you do, it will come down to these three things. Either you are, on confidentiality of the side of the information, or integrity, or the availability, and together, or both, or all of them. Okay, cool, guys. So we've seen these maps. So plethora of these attacks that we have seen are a big challenge for individual companies. Doesn't matter how small or big they are, the government organization, it's a big problem. So these hackers are becoming a big headed. This is a challenge for organizations. So if you look at this, for example, this statistics just shows you it was updated in November 2020, so it's quite recent. So if you look at that, all sorts of companies are there. These are the companies which have been attacked, and it shows a number of records that has been lost or stolen. So it has Facebook, Pakistani mobile operators, Microsoft, Oxy Data, you name it, and pretty much Marriott Hotel International, Chinese Resume League. So it's pretty much Canva, Capital One, quite a lot of them. So all these companies are there, and they have been attacked. So basically every single person and every company is subject to these attacks, and they are under threat. So that's why this field is growing and growing very fast. And, there are a lot of opportunities, and day by day, the opportunities are up on the rise. So if you look at these ones, so for example, so This is not an easy task. And to help with this, we need smart guys, smart people like yourself who are interested in cybersecurity and who want their career to be in the cybersecurity and to protect these systems. So to protect all these systems from these bad guys. So Uh, now, if we just discuss some of the roles that are available in this field, if hacking, for example, or ethical hackers, that is something fascinate you, so you can become an ethical hacker. What ethical hacker does is exactly it's the same thing what normal or black hackers or black hat hackers does. They just what ethical hacker do, they just scan the systems and try to find out the vulnerabilities, and they try to fix those vulnerabilities before the hackers find and cause any damage. So these guys are kind of protecting and keeping the hackers away. So ethical hacking is one of the field that you can be in. Similarly, you can be a security architect, for example, and the security architect uh, a security architect is responsible for establishing and maintaining network security for his or her organization. Security architect work in all sectors and all the economies. So pretty much every small to medium to companies, they have these roles. These are quite a little bit what you can say is technical roles, and they are responsible for the overall, the maintaining and establishing network security for the organization. Another role that you can see is called Chief Information Security Officer, CISO. Is very popular. This is a top level role, and it's a executive level role, and whose job is to oversee the general operation of a company's or organization's IT security division. So CISO are directly responsible for planning, coordinating, and directing all computer networks. So if you just look at these, for example, so they are responsible for the overall security of an organization. It's a quite high level role. There are some other roles available as well. And like a cybersecurity technician, this is an entry level, and similarly, cybersecurity analyst, cybersecurity risk analyst, IT security engineers. It could be, might be a firewall engineer or a router engineer, could be quite a lot of them in various different fields. Similarly, forensic computer analyst who just perform forensic analysis on a computer if anything happened or it has been hacked. So it provides, it does a forensic analysis of the system. Penetration tester, they are kind of same as ethical hacker, but slightly different. So they try to penetrate into the system and can do. And similarly, information security analyst and security system administrators. So there are quite a lot of roles. And what I would say is another thing you guys can do is that either you can just learn and become a cybersecurity professional, and you can be you can apply for these jobs. They are available all around the world, or you can just start as a freelancer. There are loads of opportunities available, like Upwork and quite other organizations, because people are looking for these specialists or cybersecurity professionals, and you can just start your own business. And I've been into Pakistan quite recently, and I just found out there were a lot of demand and appetite for it, and people and companies need those sorts of things. They have no idea. So it's kind of a new uh, concept there, and so it's better to get into the field earlier rather than late, and can be pioneer into that organization. So we will discuss these roles and what is requirement for all these in our detailed course when we, if you guys decide to join, and we will just go through every single thing and what are the requirements and how we can equip you for that. And so these are some of the certifications that are available in the security field. CompTIA is an entry-level security certification, Global Information Assurance Certificate, GAIC, ISAICA, EC Council certification. They provide certified penetration tester and penetration tester, certified chief information security officer, and certified ethical hackers in there. So this is. Then the CISSP, this is the biggest one. So most of the people looking for that. And so CISSP, I myself was certified by CISSP. This is a vendor neutral certification. And I remember we did a 6 or 7 hours exam, and I used to be the supervisor for the CISSP exam for longer period of time. We can train you for that as well. So it depends on, and to be honest, you don't need a certification. This is my view after being working in the industry for longer period of time. If you have the skills, you don't need a degree, you don't need a certification, nothing. If you have the skill, you can go and you can demonstrate, you can talk. And this is what people need. I don't need someone who have a couple of degrees or a couple of certification and cannot do the job. I need someone to protect me. And as you have seen this one, so in every individual companies, everyone is at risk, everyone is vulnerable, everyone need cybersecurity. And you're going to see this one, we're going to be pushing, and quite a lot of security organization will push the awareness of these things. We are working on another program, for example, which would provide cybersecurity training for the kids from age 8 onward, and then their parents and grandparents. They need to be aware of what it is. So it's a field which is for everyone. It's not like just a programmer. If you are a programmer, you are work only in the organization who just make programs or develop software. No, this is a requirement for every single thing. Every single person or every single thing needs some sort of security. So this is gonna be huge, and it's getting huge. So uh, so that's pretty much it. And some of the cybersecurity courses that we are offering is called cybersecurity for beginners, and cyber network security, ethical hacking, website ethical hacking. This is a more specialized, more targeted toward the data-driven or dynamic website. So there are quite a lot of courses we are offering, and we're going to be adding more and more, inshallah, soon. So if you look at this, and the normal prices are pretty high, 60,000 for cybersecurity course. We're offering only for 1,500 rupees. This is an opening offer for you guys up there, and you're not going to regret it. Once you might have spent or wasted quite a lot of money on some of the education program that you've been to, but if you just get one of that course, you will not regret it. And trust me, after working, I did quite a lot of courses. I done myself around about 30, 40 different courses. And what I'm trying to do is that to condense all that knowledge and just rip off all, or just throw away all those stuff that you don't need, and just try to bring the juice that is from all these courses, and the stuff, the more highly technical and practical courses and stuff, so you guys can be equipped very quickly. And it would not last more than 12 weeks. We try to finish it as quickly as possible, and quite a lot of it. So but if you have any other question, just ping me. So this offer is for a limited period of time, and you can just make use of it. This is myself. I did MSc Internet Technologies in 2000 from University of Bedfordshire in UK, some other master degrees and bachelor degrees as well, and some of the program ISO 27001. This is a ISO quality insurance for the cybersecurity, and certified as a lead implementer and lead auditor, big data and Hadoop. This is another area. I just work in many different fields. So CISSP, you might see here, ISC square from. So this is who I am. Don't need to. Okay, so the cybersecurity for beginner course, apart from all the contents, we also, because you need some of the foundation, and which, for example, basics of computer, basics of network, basics of internet, basics of Linux, virtualization. These are the foundations that you need to get into cybersecurity. So what we're going to do is, in the beginners course, we will try to cover all these, and we'll give you some very solid and good concepts and what these things are. Linux is very important, and so virtualization. So these all mean fields. If you're not very versed of, or you might have a vague idea what these things are, so we're going to be using that for that sorts of course. So I think so. Done quite a lot for this introductory class, and hope it makes sense. So okay, guys, so delivery and requirements. So all these courses will be delivered online, and you will have the opportunity to ask any questions. Basic requirement is you need to have a computer with internet connection to take a course, and if you miss a course, then we will make a video of that course available for a period of time. I mean, you should be a little bit in English, not very proficient, but if you understand English a little bit, we will try to deliver course mix of English and Urdu, and we will try to make it as easy as possible. And this is something we are aiming for. So don't need a specific degree that you need to have a BSc or master's or bachelor degree. If you need to, if you have a desire and you can, so this is a skill that you can learn. Duration, this duration would not be more than 12 weeks. We try to finish between 10 to 12 weeks, and it's all depends on how you guys and how much you work you do and how committed you are. The classes timing would be in the evening, and we will discuss that, and we'll agree a better time. The most important thing is that you need to have a lab, a laboratory where you can practice your skills, because these are very dangerous skills. So you cannot practice that in the live environment, because you can cause damage. So you need to have a lab. So we will teach you how to set up a lab and practice these skills. This is very important. So don't worry, we'll help you with that, and you can just do it in a single computer with the help of virtualization. The class is starting on 4th of January 2021. That's the cybersecurity for beginners course. That's the fundamental course that everyone should take, and then we will just start the other courses as we go along. So that's for that. In terms of fees, cybersecurity for beginners course is, I'll give you the big bonus at the end, so just wait for it. Cybersecurity for beginners course, the original fees is 60,000, discounted fees 15,000, and similarly ethical hacking original fee is 80,000, discounted fee is 20,000. So on and so forth. So these are the original fees in yellow, and discounted fees that you can buy as an individual course. So if you original fees of our cybersecurity courses is come up to 280,000 rupees, 280,000. So I think so we call it 2,80,000. And the discounted fees for all cyber courses. So if you buy individually, then you will end up paying 70,000 for it. And so what we offering today is a big bonus that only for 20,000 rupees you can have all these four courses. So once you finish one, then you can enter into the other and into the other, but you have to pay upfront only 20,000 rupees. So that's the lowest, to be honest, I can do for you guys. And I know it's hard, but it's very, very hard for us and as well, and we just trying to give it, to be honest, almost for free. Once you have a course, you will realize that it's highly skilled and highly technical and quite advanced techniques and stuff we're gonna be teaching you that we have learned over 20 years working in the UK and the US market. So this offer gonna end soon, so it's only for this class, and after that, we're gonna remove the big bonus. So what you can do is how to register and what's the next steps are. So I would say you simply, if you just go to the cybersecurity website, and just simply I'll show you simple process. So like if you just look at this is our website, it would be on your pages. So you click on the, for example, cybersecurity course, for example, you will see the course details. So these are cybersecurity for beginners course, and there are some topics and there will be more to that. So all you need is to just click on register now. When you click on register now, just put your name, your WhatsApp number, your email address, and it has to be a valid email address. Otherwise, we would not be able to communicate, and WhatsApp as well. And then select the course that you want to register, which we are doing is cybersecurity for beginners. And then you hit submit. So let's just, if we do that, and say number, say that this is a dummy number, I don't know, to be honest, and I just put info at the cyberuniversity.com, the cyberuniversity.com, and just if you have any specific question, just you can type in here or you can leave it blank. So click on submit, and this will just send this information to us. We will receive that and you will be taken to this page. So all you need to do is, if you want to pay by credit or debit card, you can use PayPal. So you can just select all courses is roughly £93, or ethical for hacking. If you want to buy individual courses, you can do that as well. But if you are taking a bonus, then just use that. Or if you, for example, you don't have a credit or debit card, all you can do is our informations are available. This is Faisal Bank and the Bank of Punjab. The account details are here. So the Cyber Smart Training, that's a company name that is registered in Pakistan. We have to register it there. So it's a legal registered business there. So in the local bank, and in Cyber Smart Training Limited is registered in UK as a company, and you can just use that, or you can just simply the Faisal Bank or Bank of Punjab, whichever you want to use, you can just use that one, and you can transfer that, say whatever course you are taking. If you are using the big bonus, then just simply send 20,000 rupees over, and when you just do a bank transfer, just make sure that you put your name in the reference. So that is important. So your name in the reference field. So when you go to the bank, they tell them that you need to put your name as a reference, so they will help you out. And then you just take a photo of that screen, that receipt, and just either WhatsApp us, or you can send us by email, which is here info@cyberuniversity.com, and we will have that one, and then we will send all the detail for the class 4th of January, inshallah. So we will see you guys there. If you have any question, don't hesitate, and just WhatsApp us. That might be the quickest way. You have our WhatsApp number here, and just fire a question, just record a question, and we'll try to get back to you guys. So hope that makes sense, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot, and have a good one.